Welcome into the Official Jets podcast.
Dangling a steak in front of a lion and you ain't got no cage in between you. He gonna get to that steak.
So let's go inside the matchup.
A motivated Aaron Rodgers is a dangerous Aaron Rodgers.
Game day and every day, score a jewelry touchdown with Kendra Scott. Shop fashion and fine jewelry fit for another winning season at your local store or at kendrascott.com. Shine bright, do good with Kendra Scott.
All right, Bart. We're going back to a vintage look today. What do you think about the studio?
It's old school.
For those watching on
Look at
NewYorkers.com and YouTube.
Presented by Kendra Scott.
That's
Did you
right.
give everybody in the office something for Christmas?
Yes, you have to go to Kendra Scott and take care of your loved ones.
Can I give them the EA code?
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you this. As far as Christmas is concerned, what's it like in the Scott household?
It's changed.
Yeah.
Right? As I mature, we get older, the kids get older. Like, my oldest is 19 years old. He'll be 20. Like, bro, what are we talking about? Like, you're a grown man. Like, 1 or 2 gifts. The only one that really gets a bunch of stuff is the baby. And Giselle, because her birthday is pretty close to Christmas. And she's getting at the age now where buying her a car is just as much for us as it is for her.
Right.
Because she's an athlete. So, and also now you can go pick up your brothers and stuff like that. So she'll get a car this year. But that's just because at some point you need your kids to become, borderline babysitters and Uber drivers.
What about these electric scooters that everybody's riding around in now?
Oh, I'm big on that type of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
she's had that. Like, Bryce has that, the bike that can go 25 miles
It's
an
like
hour.
30, 35 miles per hour.
Yeah.
You better have a good helmet.
So, yeah, and especially like around here, like we live in Mendham, so it's the hills and going up and down and blind corners, and it's super dark at night. It gets dark at 12 o'clock. I mean, at 4:30 around here now. So
I know.
It's time for her to be able to pick up her brother. What about the A household? What do you got going on? You got
The family's coming. Everybody's coming in, and Santa Claus is coming Christmas Eve. If we're good at home, and maybe we get a couple.
Is that why you've been in your office so much? Like the in-laws are in?
Yeah, they're coming in for a couple days. They're going to have a lot of people there, so it's a stressful time.
Entertaining people don't realize is exhausting for the host family, making sure that everybody's okay, comfortable.
Yeah, I love the holiday season because everybody gathers together, but it is a lot of work, and got to make sure to keep your cool here during December. But season's greetings to everybody. Unfortunately for Jets fans, much of the same, right? What happened? We saw
Lopa Cole again.
this Sunday at MetLife Stadium. 99-yard drive. Jets come out of the gate quite hot. Weird game. Not a lot of possessions.
Yeah.
And the Jets unable to capitalize on a number of opportunities. They lose by 10 to the NFC West leaders.
Unfortunately, when it's not that many possessions and you have a fumble inside your own territory, that's tough. And, they had the opportunities, and it's something that they're going to have to learn to grow from it. If you talk about what the 2025 Jets are all going to be about, it has to be about finishing, right? And it's going to have to be about, okay, when we get to a position, how do we win these games instead of losing them? And it just comes down to execution late in games. And they can go back and probably look at the film and say, hey, we left maybe 5 W's out there simply because we had self-inflicted wounds. And that has to be the mindset about going forward. Whoever comes in here and coaches this team next year has to really harp on finishing in situational football.
Jeff Albrecht, he was going for it against the Rams, right? 2 of 5 on 4th down.
Yeah.
And I asked him about his strategy 4th down a couple of weeks ago. He said, hey, we're going to be aggressive, and they certainly were.
I mean, the analytics suggest that you have more opportunities. Now, you would hope to be, to get one more, because one more of those 4th downs probably would have resulted in the 7 points that they needed to win the football game. That's the unfortunate part, because sometimes it can be a momentum builder, but it can also be a momentum killer if you don't get it, especially if the other team goes down and scores in return.
Yeah, when you look back at that game, I thought everything flipped there early in the 3rd quarter. The Jets had a drive that was, I think, around 11 minutes.
Yeah.
It took a lot of time off the clock. And you're inside the red zone, 4th down. Rodgers looking for DeMonte. They can't connect.
Yeah, no points. And that's disheartening at times, right? Because you understand when you're hearing Rodgers and you hear everybody early in the season talking about cover 2 and 2 high safeties. And, you know, what it preaches and makes you exercise is patience, right? 3 or 4 yards, 5 yards, you know, negative play, you know, picking up yardage and stuff like that. But then if you don't cash in on it, then it can be demoralizing because it's hard to do that and go down the field without having holding penalties, procedure penalties. And it just did that for the most part, but they just couldn't execute when they needed it the most to be able to get in the end zone.
Yeah, without Quinnen Williams, I thought the defense was okay. I'm not going to say great.
Yeah, Kyron Williams.
If he got hits, he gets over 100.
Yeah.
They didn't put the ball in the air a lot. I thought Stafford did not look comfortable. He did not look on, but they did just enough.
Yeah, they did just enough not to and I think they anticipated it was going to be a tough game. You got a West Coast team coming all the way to the East Coast playing at their 10 o'clock, their body time, you know, and that can always be a little bit weird. And, you know, it's 75 degrees where they're at. I thought they did a good job and just standing around and making sure that they didn't make any of the big mistakes.
You know what I liked early in this game was the Jets got Breece Hall involved. He had more than 15 touches in that first half. And we saw once again more examples of how dynamic he can be as a receiver. We just broke that down for Jets Game Day, which is going to air, shameless plug, CBS 7:30 Sunday morning, or you can check it out on YouTube or NewYorkJets.com. But the 3rd and 11, he just leaks out of the backfield. Rodgers dumps the ball to him, and he does the rest.
Right. It's like keep it simple, right? Yeah. What a luxury it is to have a running back that you can give the football to on a, you know, check down, and he sees 2 defenders that are unblocked, and he's able to make both of them miss, split the defense, and get you a first down. I mean, that just tells you how dynamic he is, how strong he is, and how quickly he can close space up on defenders.
And while his numbers aren't overwhelmingly gaudy this year, we were just talking about it before we started taping, is that you consider him in the elite class of running backs in that National Football League at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think he can do it all. I think, you know, he has untapped potential, but I think he has such a high ceiling that, you know, I look at him like, you know, a future Marshall Faulk, Christian McCaffrey type, a Saquon. He's in a class with those type of guys where it's positionless. It's not that you even put him in a category. You just say football player, right? And you get him the ball any way you can. I don't care if you put him at receiver, slot receiver. If you go empty and put him at number 1, he's shown that he can catch a high point the ball and make the difficult catches. Like, you can see the difference. Braylon Allen's going to get improved better as he gets older, but you can see the difference when one catches the ball, 2, how quickly he turns from a pass catcher to a pass runner. Like, Breece Hall has some of the best, softest hands I've ever seen.
Really?
He catches the ball and he gets north and south. It accelerates from transitions from catching the ball. You know, some running backs, when they catch the ball, they have to focus, catch the ball. Oh, I have the ball. Breece Hall is catching and saying, okay, go, and catching as he goes. And you see that when he catches some of these one-hand catches.
Naturally in rhythm.
Yeah, it's in rhythm. He doesn't break stride. It's not stop, catch, run. It's run, grab the ball. Oh, here's the ball. Let me grab it. It's a transition. You know, not a lot of pass catchers can do it all together, let alone a running back.
But he's a unique runner as well in terms of the speed because he never looks like
he reminds me of Marshall Faulk, but he's faster than Marshall Faulk. But he has still the running style of Arian Foster.
Yeah.
But he also has, in my opinion, he has a lot of Matt Forte in his game as well. The type of runner. It's not like a choppy, like steps and stuff like that. His head's not bald, but it doesn't look like he's utilizing a lot of energy. Like his head not bobbing when he's running. It's just like, okay, here I go. Almost much like Eric Dickerson used to run too.
There you go.
Those type of runners, you know what I mean?
He's got so much God-given talent. And I'm not saying there's not a lot of hard work involved, but it makes it look effortless.
It's almost how like people used to say about Robinson Cano. Like it doesn't look like he's trying.
Yeah.
I am trying, but my mannerism, my body, it doesn't stress.
Don't hate because I'm graceful.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Because I'm elegant. You know what I mean? Not everybody's like Barry Sanders. Not everybody's like Walter Payton. Like Eric Dickerson was a smooth stand-up runner, and it never looked like he was like asking himself, "Oh, give me everything you got." Like he was just like, "Oh, let's go."
Hey, that 99-yard drive to start the game, that was quite impressive.
It was.
And we also broke down the touchdown where Rodgers goes play action boot, is quite patient with it, and Devontae Adams, veteran play. Just finds space in the back of the end zone.
That wasn't the route.
Yeah.
To me, I feel like it was maybe a throwback where Aaron was going to roll out or half roll out and throw out. But Devontae saw, or maybe it wasn't, Devontae saw the leverage of the defender, so he attacked him to get him to stop his feet and then pivoted out.
Come back.
So that he can create that space, because he knows if he just ran and just pivoted out and just ran towards the pylon, then the defender would have ran towards him. So he forced that defender to stop his feet because he attacked his leverage.
3 of the Jets' first 4 drives were 14-plus plays. I think 14 plays, 15 plays. Would you like them over these final 2 games? I'm not talking about long-term. I'm talking about like these final 2 games to try to run a little bit more when you are in the red zone, because they are moving the football effectively.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about, I know it becomes a lot more condensed down there, but, I like the screen game down there. I like the draws down there. And I like being able sometimes to go empty down there because it forces them to pick fast. And the thing is, Garrett Wilson, a great yak guy. Devontae Adams, a great yak guy. Breece Hall, a great yak guy. So, put your guys in positions to get the ball in space and manufacture it, whether you go 3 by 1 or, empty. You want to create space for the guys to have opportunities to get the ball and make defenders tackle, especially now when you talk about the cold weather.
Yeah.
Not everybody's great tacklers in cold weather because the hands are cold and the plastic from the shoulder pads are hardened. And, not everybody, the ground is slippery, so people that not ready to just can't transition. So make these guys tackle our yak guys in space.
Don't laugh at this, but was that difficult for you as a player who was always a sound tackler, who was a great technician? You were, and people were going to be like, oh, you're schizo. No, you got after it. But what changed for you specifically in the cold?
Well, see, I was never like these new guys. They like to throw the shoulder and think they can knock people off their feet. Yeah. I was a rapper. So,
who's the best rappers in the league right now?
As far as the sure tacklers?
Yeah.
I like the kid from the Colts. I think he plays with his hair on fire. Raekwon Smith, of course. Fred Warner, of course.
Warner's a good one.
Tampa. He's in his 13th year. I love him a lot.
Not Levante. No.
Levante David.
Yep.
Yeah, Levante David.
Okay.
I mean, he's having one of his best seasons at that ripe age. He's in his 13th year. I think he's 34 years old. I think he's playing better.
So, but what did you do with the Colts?
Well, me being from Detroit, I always played in the cold weather. So I understand. For me, I look at playing in the cold weather as being able to weaponize your body, because the ground is hard, so you can inflict more pain. That's why I wrapped up. Because when you wrap up, and you force yourself to go to the ground, and when you wrap up, you also force yourself to fall on the ground on top of them. So you're using the force from your hit, but you're also using the force of the ground that's frozen and hardened. So, it was opportunities to kind of get guys banged up. You can bang up them shoulders. You can bang up, don't let the head hit and you fall on top of it, or the shoulders, the ribs, the extremities. Everything hurts more when you play in the cold weather. So I use it as a weapon because the helmet stiffens up, so the helmet is hardened because it's plastic, so it gets hardened. Right. So, but also the ball gets slick because it's pigskin, and the ball is hard. So the ball gets hard, so it's harder to hold on to. Mm-hmm. So it's easier to cause fumbles. So you have to understand the dynamics and elements that you play in and use it as an opportunity to make plays.
The official Jets podcast is presented by Kendra Scott, the jewelry company that's shining bright and doing good. Shop game day ready jewelry styles and so much more at kendrascott.com.
You know what's crazy about the Rams game? We're going to look ahead to Buffalo, of course, was that the Jets lost by 10. But They never punted, and they had 1 turnover in the game. 7 possessions. It was wild.
Well, 7 possessions, that just tells you that both teams were, eating up a lot of clock.
Yep.
I bet if we look at both possessions, by all the teams, even though the Jets had like 10 and 9, I bet you, the Rams had 5, 7 as well because it kind of evened out at the end.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to talk about Jets-Bills, but Garrett Wilson right now, he's 13 yards shy of 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
How can you get him going maybe earlier in the game? Because the numbers were bad when you look at, but it's more than just numbers. And this guy is a dynamic playmaker for you.
The difficulty is, right, we just talked earlier about getting Breece Hall, let the offense run through Breece Hall. Yeah. But then now we're talking about how do we get Garrett Wilson his touches. It has to be something that, well, you think when you have that extended drive that the players are up so much that you get opportunities to make everybody happy.
Sure.
But, when you get this cover 2, you got to make people start paying for cover 2. So if you want to play cover 2 against me, then I might just go with a slot nub, or I might just go with like Garrett Wilson in the slot. And now, okay,
You've always loved him there.
Yeah, I put him in the slot. I put him and Devontae to the same side, knowing that Devontae can take the safety or Garrett can take the safety. And now, how do you play cover 2 to that? It's hard because now you can take 2 guys vertical to the same side, knowing that the corner is squatting. So now you talk about who has to carry that. If they're in base defense, then that's a linebacker. So now advantage you. So I'll take Garrett Wilson, with a linebacker, but it's easier if you motion to it because if it's zone, if you line up to it, then they might just switch it to cover 3 or something like that.
So schematically, you can get him involved more, and you want to see them flood a side.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's pre-snap motion. Don't line them up there from the get.
And you can put him in the backfield.
Yeah,
you can put him in the backfield all set. He can run his vertical route from there, which guarantees you that if it's zone, that you're going to get a linebacker.
Right.
So you get him here, and then we'll round him up a little bit and get him that way. So it's different ways, and another way to kill cover 2 is to put him out at number 1. Take whatever your fastest guy is, tell him to run straight. He runs like a 15-yard dig underneath that because that eats up the safety. The safety's got to go.
He's got to respect that.
Yeah, he's got to go with the vertical. And then remember, a lot of times for the 7 route, the cornerback's snuffs back. But then when you do that, when he's number 1 and it's 15 yards, the corner's going to let it go. And then if he runs the dig, it's nobody there.
Yeah.
Because because number 2 in vertical, the vertical hook guy has to carry that. He has to run with him because he becomes man-to-man and becomes a double late. So you run the deep dig, especially with the type of pass coverage you're getting from the offensive line. We'll figure out what it is with Fashanu. But with Fashanu in there, Aaron had extended time to run that 15-yard dig because it takes a little bit more time to run.
This is Football 501, by the way, and that's what we always say here. Would you rather, because you've done some coaching in the past, would you rather be an OC calling plays or a DC?
I like DC just because I like to see people get hit. But you can do the same thing at OC as well because you can set up guys to get blindsided, either like down blocks, cracks. Like if I was the Jets, a lot of times with Breece Hall, I would put my tight ends out wide and I would short motion them in and just tell him to decleat the defensive end. So much so that the defensive end get tired of him doing that and get mad and get pissed off, and then that's when you fake it, and then you run like an over route. You just keep. The Kansas City Chiefs used to do it all the time. They used to kill people. They would have Willie Rofe on one side and Will Shields, and then they had this big tight end named Dunn. He was like maybe 6'8", like 280, and he was a blocker. They had Tony Gonzalez on the other side, and they would short motion him in. And he would just clean up anything, and like they would like throw a toss to Breece Hall, and they would pull Willie Rofe. So now you're in space with Willie Rofe after your DN your support just got decleated because you send him in short motion. Now 280 has a head start, right? And he just blindsides you. There's nothing you can do. So
that's not right to be facing Willie Rofe in space, by the way. That's not fair.
Willie Rofe and Will Shields, they pull together. It's 2 Hall of Famers.
Hey, you know what I also liked offensively, even though it's odd saying this, the 9 points because it's not the output that you wanted. You saw Conklin get involved, and we it's every week.
But that comes with cover 2, though.
Yeah.
Right? Cover 2, Now he can run vertical. He has matchups against linebackers and stuff like that. He can sit in zones. So it was basically the benefit. Whoever's a two-man side, when you have cover two, the inside guy has the ability because he can press out or he can press in, right? So you have opportunities, but you're going to have, you're getting vertical hooked by a linebacker. So that gives you the advantage.
Jets Bills this weekend. What's it like playing in that stadium as a visitor? Now, they were not in their heyday when you played there.
Yeah,
that was a team that was always struggling.
Yeah, they were always loud, though, as well. It's a college atmosphere. I mean, they don't have much to cheer about up there. I mean, they got Buffalo Wild Wings, maybe, and they got Applebee's. But it's not much to really celebrate up there. The cold weather is cool initially. Everybody dreaming of a white Christmas. It just gets downright depressing after 30 days of it.
So I grew up in Western New York.
So you know all what time it is, right? That lake effect, is it off Lake Erie?
Lake effect, that's right. Lake
Yeah,
Erie. Look at you,
yeah.
Great Lakes.
I mean, exactly. I mean, I'm Lake Ontario.
We were talking before about the nickel defense. They love Taron Johnson, and he's a really good player. But what does that mean for you offensively when you look at Buffalo and you know that they're going to live in nickel or dime?
That means a lot of Breece Hall, a lot of Braylon Allen, a lot of Isaiah Davis. I'm going to give them what they want. You saying you're daring us to stop, to run, to like run against the light box?
Yeah.
I might go in there and I might go jumbo. I'm saying I'm going to get you out of this because that's what you want. I'm going to go jumbo. I'm gonna go something. I'm gonna dig you out of that. I'm gonna get doubles everywhere and say, tackle my big guys coming downhill. Everybody in that backfield for the Jets are 220 or heavier.
Are you surprised that they live in nickel? It feels like
because the world of football is played in three wides, dime, no fullbacks. But that's why when they go against a team with a fullback like the Ravens, they get their doors ran off.
Okay.
Right to the tune of 200 yards.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what happens. So there's very few teams that invest in H-backs or fullbacks. But, this is the time when you wish you had a power running game.
So speak to that because you were talking about injuries before and tackling. What's an NFL locker room like late in the year as far as that training room? I'll never forget you guys lining up and getting ready to play the Pittsburgh Steelers AFC Championship game. Yes, the last playoff game the Jets have had. That was following the 2010 season. That was after you guys went to New England, beat Tom Brady in his house. You went to Indianapolis. You beat actually started with Peyton Manning in Indy. Then that great win over Brady at Gillette. And then finally you got Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh. I'll never forget what that training room looked like before that game. What's the war of attrition?
Like episode of MASH.
Yeah, what's the war of attrition like at this point of year?
It's funny because you're starting to see it happen to
Detroit.
to like the Lions, right?
Yeah.
When you play a physical brand of football, you pay the cost too. And you hope that you can avoid major injuries, but everybody's beat up. And what you're hoping is that they're beat up just as much as your opponents. But you see certain guys like the Chiefs getting healthy. They get Hollywood Brown back. They get guys like Pacheco back. They get guys back that hadn't had to have the war of attrition. They were out healing up from injury and surgeries, and now they're fresh. So you hope you lay to those guys. Like when, we did our run the first year, Thomas Jones pretty much got us there, but Sean Green carried us over, right? Because he was fresh. He didn't have a lot of carries. So when he came in, he had fresh live legs, so he avoided the rookie wall because he didn't get a lot of carries during the season.
Right. So, what did your body feel like at the end of those seasons? 09, 10?
My body was, I feel like, I was physically beat up. Anybody that goes to AFC championships or you start seeing it with the San Francisco 49ers, when you play late in the season, it's only a matter of time because you're playing way more games than everybody, and it affects your ability to heal in the off season, which affects your ability to train, to come in the following season stronger. And as you get older, it gets harder and harder to recover. So you start seeing guys like that. Remember, that was the last year we went to Pittsburgh.
Yep.
That was my third straight AFC championship. Even coming from Baltimore.
Right.
And we didn't have the bye week. We had the bye day, right, because of the hurricane.
That's right.
And so, my body, I was a guy that never missed any time. So that was difficult because your body never gets a chance to heal. My body was constantly inflamed. Probably took me 2 years after retirement to get all the inflammation.
Really?
My hands were always super swole. Like, my body was just always inflamed. And then, took like 2 years afterwards, my hands actually went down to the right side.
Yeah, people don't understand what these guys go through. I know you're happy you're on the other side of things now at this point.
I'm soft now. I want a scarf. I need heater packs, gloves, isotoners, all that.
Hey, it was cold there at the stadium on Sunday. I did pre and post game show out there. I wasn't getting hit though.
But you toughed it out though.
Yeah.
You had the little hot, little shaky pass. And
Jets defensively, Quinn Williams didn't play against the Rams. You saw Sauce Gardner go out of that game with the hammy. Tony Adams, who had an interception, he also exited the game. So you're dealing with different personnel right now. Jamien Sherwood continues to have a great season. But in terms of this battle against the Bills, they're kind of multi-dimensional because they'll run it. They'll rely on it more than they have in the past. They used to be more of a finesse offense. And then you got Allen back there. How do you think they should approach this game?
I like the way the Patriots played. They always had like a spy out there for him because if you give him opportunities to sit back there and then he decides to take off, then you're at his mercy, right? Because he's a quarterback. You only have a certain parts where you can even tackle him anyway. And then now he's out there in space and they're telling you, oh, well, you can't go hit him. He has the protections of a quarterback. I'm like, well, you mean the guy
Who's a running back?
who's bigger than me?
Yeah.
You mean, so I got to tackle him a certain way. And then he can decide to slide at the end. I hope next year, like they say when running quarterbacks like decide to run, they lose all protections. They can't slide. I hope that they can get themselves up.
Oh, really?
Because you get stuck in between no man's land. Because how many times have we seen Patrick Mahomes fake like he's going out of bounds, you let up as a defender, and then he cuts it up? How many times have we seen guys run and we anticipate and think they're going to do it, and they've done it all game, but because now it's the fourth quarter, now they're putting their head down. Right. And then they try and run you over. Then you get teased and laughed at. Oh, you can't tackle a quarterback in space. Ha, 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 you're a linebacker. But it's because you have to be thinking. I don't have to think when a running back comes through and I hit him, especially when you talk about so many of these quarterback plays are designed quarterback runs. Look at what Jay Daniel does, right? Those are designed. So if he's designed running, then he should be a running back.
Yeah, at that point, sure.
Yeah, so running backs don't have the ability to slide.
Yeah.
So if all these guys, so the punishment should be if you want to run and use your guy, make it 11 on 11, if you want to do that, then they should be treated just like a running back.
Do you think the league would ever do that?
I think they should because I think that'll stop the guys they'll be very clear and they'll have a clear understanding. When you leave this tackle box, you're a football player.
Yeah.
As long as you're in this tackle box, you're a quarterback. When you leave this tackle box and you're trying to run in space, and guy like Lamar Jackson 1,000 yards, guy like Josh Allen 700 yards, you gotta pay the price. You don't get to run all the way out there, run 50 yards, and then say, "Oh, I don't have to get tackled." Mm-hmm. Nah, it don't work that way.
All right. So who do you want the Jets specifically in terms of spine? Who would you put on him?
Well, I would have said a guy like Chuck Clark or somebody like that, sure tackling in space, because you want that guy to be a safety. Like if this would have been one of our teams, we probably would have put Eric Smith or we'd have put James Hedebo, like somebody that's a guy that's physical enough to kind of be strong enough to take down such a big player, but also have enough tackle radius. You almost a little guy there that he can just stiff arm, and their arm's so short they can't get to his body when he's stiff arming them because he's 6'5".
Sure, we talked about him a number of times. He's just going to finish the season with the career year. Stepped up from Mosley. What's his next steps? Maybe this week against Buffalo and then finishing the season against Miami. I know his contract is up at the end of the year, but from what you saw from him this year, what's his next level?
Next level, I mean, he's off to a good start, but he's going to have to get bigger and stronger, maybe 5 to 10 more pounds so he can anchor more. And then he's going to have to get ready for the adjustment because this year he wasn't in a lot of scouting reports, right? And they were like, oh, Quincy's over here, CJ's over here. And they was like, oh, they got this other guy. Now he's going to get the full out attention of the team. They're going to be saying, hey, we sending our linemen up to him. or we're doubling him, or we're pulling for him, or we're putting a fullback on him. And that's the adjustment period. When you go from kind of sneaking up on people and everybody else is part of the game plan to watch out for this guy, then now they start giving you your respect, you're going to see what happens.
Did you sneak up on people early in your career? Once you jumped, when you went from the special teams ace to the now when we playing out
of course.
there, yeah.
And then my first year as a starter, when I got them 9.5 sacks.
You were the sack master.
Yeah. And then the next year they was like, 57 left. Rip, like, or they start sliding to me. I'm like, yo, man, this is Ray Lewis behind me. Why don't you slide to him?
You never had a year like that again? You were like Reggie White.
Well, no, like I think the most I ever got after that was like 5 sacks in a year. But, as a middle linebacker, traditionally, you don't blitz a lot. You know what I mean?
Right.
A lot of my blitzes here was run blitzes.
Of course. AFC. The Bills right now, it's an interesting spot. We're taping Monday. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve. We got some Christmas football. By the way, I want to get your thoughts. Mm-hmm. Do you like Christmas football?
It's something to do. The NFL is consistently trying to take over the world, right? Like Pinky and the Brain. Traditionally, it used to be basketball when I was growing up.
That's right.
Thanksgiving was football.
Yeah.
And now football is trying to take over everything. So it used to be that Christmas was the unofficial start of basketball season. So when you start paying attention to basketball, and they still have it, but if football is on and basketball is on
in the United States, yeah,
right,
we know where
everybody's turning the channel to.
Buffalo could be an interesting position here. They right now are the 2 seed in the AFC. Chiefs are 1. If the Chiefs win Wednesday, it's over. They're the 1 seed. The Bills could finish 3 if Baltimore won out or if Pittsburgh won out.
I think they want to be able to have as many home games as they can go.
So you think
first of all, this is the Jets. They hate us. Deion Dawkins had something personal against us. I don't know why we bug him more than anybody or any team in the NFL.
Hey, man, Merry Christmas to everybody. We're going to be back in the new year. Thanks, Bart.